On the way out of the meeting, John Mara said he was adamantly opposed to the idea of flexing Thursday night games. He called the idea abusive and made a plea to consider the fans who go to the games. And he said, what are we thinking about? What is your feeling on flexing Thursday night games? And I know it's going to come up again in May, so where do you think it's headed?
Well, we'll see. Listen, there isn't anybody in that room, anybody in any of our organizations who don't put our fans first. That's really important. Obviously, providing the best matchups for our fans is part of what we do. That's part of what I think our scheduling has always focused on. And flex has been a part of that. We are very judicious with it, and we're very careful with it. And we look at all of the impacts to that. And so before those decisions are made, I think we average, in the years we've been doing it, about a flex and a half a year. It can vary any particular year. So it's a very important thing for us to balance with the, what I would call season ticket holders and the in-stadium audience, but we have millions of fans who also watch on television. And so reaching them is a balance that you always strike and making sure we do it right.
Your players have been pretty consistently critical of Thursday Night Football and, outspoken in the way they feel after some of those games. And the Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes, reacted negatively to the idea of having to play 2 Thursday night games in one season. And now you're talking about flexing games in and everything else. How would you respond to players who are concerned that maybe you're putting a broadcast partner in Amazon over their own interests in making some of these changes to Thursday Night Football?
I don't think we are putting Amazon over players' interests. We've always been looking at the data with respect to injuries and the impact on players. That drove our decisions throughout the first 12 or so years of Thursday Night Football and how it's evolved. And I think we have data that's very clear. It doesn't show a higher injury rate. But we recognize shorter weeks. We went through this in COVID too. We had to have a lot of flexibility in those areas. So those are obviously different circumstances. But we work very closely on that. I hear from a lot of players directly too. They love the 10 days afterwards. In fact, they call it a mini buy. And so there's some benefits on that side. So you have different views. You want to consider all of them, but players have different views, coaches have different views, and we have to try to balance all of that.
Roger, what was the extent of discussions at this meeting on Daniel Snyders' situation and the Commander's sale? And what do you expect the next steps to be both on the sale and the Mary Jo White report?
Well, both are ongoing. We did briefly report on both of those. They're both ongoing processes. The Washington Commanders are obviously the ones conducting the process on the sale. When there's a transaction, they will notify us, and we will proceed on that one. And Mary Jo White, we gave a brief update that she's in the middle of her process, and when she concludes that, we will also brief the ownership as well as make the findings public.
Tom Brady was disciplined in part for Deflategate for not cooperating with investigators. It's been reported that that Dan Snyder has not spoken with Mary Jo White. Would Snyder face any kind of sanctions if he does not indeed participate in a one-on-one with her?
Yeah, I'm not going to speculate on that. I think Mary Jo White makes the determination as to who she speaks to and when she speaks to them. That's what she should do. We'll allow her to do her job, and then we'll see where we are at that point.
Just to follow up on the questions about the Commanders, what would be the compelling reason to release the Mary Jo White report if a sale is in the works? And would there be any risk as it relates to the NFL and any separation from Snyder legally?
Well, we made that commitment back last February. We made that commitment publicly. We made it in front of Congress. We made it to our clubs. So we'll continue with that.
Is there any risk there in terms of what the separation agreement may occur with Snyder?
What's the separation agreement?
Well, if Snyder sells the franchise and there are perhaps lingering concerns from his end legally for how that separation may have occurred, is there any risk with
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. I think we've been very clear. The commanders were very clear that the findings would be made public, so we're going to continue on that course.